Guys, I got terrible news. It's 2025.
Boo! What the fuck?
And 2, I really feel like I robbed you guys of some time. For you see, I originally intended to review a game called Samurai Ghost! This game is released on the PC Engine and also the almighty American TurboGrafx 16! It's got everything you could ever want in a video game, such as creepy heads on the floor, stiffly animated characters, crusty as hell voice samples, and best of all, the main guy falls exactly like Mario from Mario 3. And it's such a shame because there's so much material in this fucking game. But me, for the life of me, I can't play it. I can't get past this one level with this stupid skeleton. And I bet that skull knows too. Look how smug this motherfucker looks. But yeah, sorry Samurai Ghost fans, all 17 of you. Quite frankly, I'm not good enough to play this game. I mean, yeah, sure, I can use the old save states and the rewind feature, but I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. But that's okay, because I have a backup plan. Or you see, we're gonna be checking out, this game. That's right, GOMOLA Speed. What the fuck is that title? This game was released and published by the UPL company. Ooh. Released in 1990 for the PC Engine and PC Engine only. Because God forbid, us Americans cannot handle the balls this guy has. I mean, there's so many of them. There's too much to count. More on that later. They're the same guys behind Atomic Robo Kid.
And the best part is that this time I didn't have to look it up.
Because you can see them in the password selection screen. Anyways, this is an action game featuring a mechanized serpentine-like creature named Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say Gorm. Yes, that is this guy's name. Anyways, as Gorm, you must traverse through 25 different levels! And the more you progress in these levels, the more interesting and complicated they get. In order to progress to the next stage, you must eat food! By circling around these little blobs. And it only registers as you circling around them if you touch the end of your tail. And the circling motion, you'll be doing it a lot. It's actually pretty hard to do if you're really short, but if you collect enough of your own segments, then it's actually much easier to do it. And yes, you need all your segments in order to actually leave the level. Otherwise, you have to go and hunt them down again. And of course, it's not a video game without enemies! Like, check this out. This right here, this guy, this is an enemy. His name is Click. Look at him go. Unfortunately for Click, he is a threat, and he must be destroyed. But how would you do that? Well, you see, this mechanized serpentine has one of the most best defenses of all time. Dropping bombs from his rear end. Yep. So luckily for you, most enemies are attracted to your butt bombs, accidentally stunning themselves. Stupid idiot! However, even your own butt bombs can be a danger to yourself. So if you accidentally spam the butt bomb button like I did, you will blow yourself up many, many times. Luckily for you, there are a couple of power-ups that you can collect. The first one I was able to notice is the Hyper Stone. Not only does it make you go speed, but it also stun every enemy you touch. Unfortunately, he's hard to control when he's going fast. Heck, you can actually go fast at will, though you might want to be careful with it because you never know when an enemy is lurking around. And the next two items are Stop. Well, one of them is to stop enemies, and the other one is to stop things. Though you can't exactly tell by just looking at the sprites. Heck, even in the manuals they look the same. Though for some reason, when you collect the one that stops things, it also stops the music. And the next one is a golden lamp. Now, what do you exactly think of when you see a golden lamp? It could be anything, really, like fluids, or maybe a genie, or, I don't know, your social security number. Well, if you guessed the hint, then that's correct! That means you get to look at Spood! And last but not least, we got the green ball! Now this power-up is pretty special, and I wish it was in the main game. Because what this glorious green ball does is that it makes your attack into a projectile, making it a whole heck of a lot easier to kill enemies. And it even makes quick work of those pesky bosses. For you see, unlike a modern human being, these bosses will not fall for your butt bombs. Although there's only one boss in the game where you need to use your butt bombs, and it's the first boss. And this guy's really fucking tough. At first, anyway. I genuinely struggled with this guy at first, but I noticed that he actually somewhat follows you. So all you gotta do is just put a bomb right in front of you, and then he detonates himself, and then you gotta absorb all of his whale things. Also, he looks like fucking Bub. I am grateful for the projectile power-up, but I will admit, you know, once you get it, it's pretty easy. In fact, the real struggle is getting to the bosses. Yeah, this is one of those few times where the levels are more frustrating than the bosses themselves. And I really mean that. So yeah, some of the levels have you collect all the food, but also some levels introduce things like keys, or even breakable blocks that you need to find. And these breakable blocks are pretty hard to find. But you see, I looked closely and I realized there is a key difference into finding these breakable blocks. If you zoom in really close, you can see that there is a 1 pixel difference. That means the block is breakable. Oh yes, and while you traverse these levels, you can collect treasure! I don't know, just pointing that out, you know, treasure. Yeah. Oh, it's not a treasure is one of those levels that plops you into an area where you're surrounded by enemies. Thankfully, the only real hitbox that can kill you is your head. But also, I did mention that you need to collect all your body parts. So, then there's times like this, where you're trying to collect all the food and reach the exit, and then BAM! This fucking big, long, throbbing, fleshy thing named GOMOLA thrusts into your body. Oh dear, I realize how wrong that sounds. But possibly the worst offender of this is stage 24. I mean, look at this. How are you supposed to react to this? Come on. What makes it even worse is that this time if you die in this stage, you don't even get a password. So you gotta remember your previous password so you can continue where you left off. Well, if you died in the previous stage anyway. And of course, whenever you use said password, the game has to explain to you the mechanics every single time. So yeah, just be mindful of that, okay? Luckily, the Gomolas are also stunnable as well, so you can just move them aside and make some space for yourself. Even with that, it's still a frustrating level nonetheless. Which is a funny thing to say, by the way, because the final boss is a real cakewalk compared to this level. See, for the previous bosses, you actually have to go and find the power-up in order to defeat the boss. Meanwhile, for here, there is no level. You kind of just, there's your power-up, now just shoot him a billion times. I mean, sure, he does shoot a lot more projectiles than usual, but
If you're a pro expert at this game like me,
then that means you can use your body to shield yourself while trying to shoot him when he opens up. I don't know, the least they could have done is put a background, you know, like this. And after defeating this notorious foe, roll credits. Congratulations, you are a great player, hee hee! Yeah, looks like that's about it for GOMOLA Speed. Oh, you guys might be wondering what the plot of this game was. I don't know, actually. Yeah, seriously, I actually tried checking the manuals and looking it up online, but this game seems to not really have a plot. In fact, the only thing that resembles a plot in this game are these little pictures that you get after defeating the bosses, which is very useful for me, because that means I get to use them throughout the entirety of this video. Oh, alright, I'll draw them once. So, if you're in the market for a video game that's like Snake, but with more instructions, then check out GOMOLA Speed. I'd say it is quite satisfying to see Mr. Gorn just kind of slither around the stages. It's pretty cool, to be honest. I'd say it's a pretty decent game. Sure, the graphics aren't exactly really stellar, but it is a fun, arcadey-like experience. And I'm pretty sure you will have fun too, if you like to spin around all day. Because my fucking god, my fucking thumb hurts. Fuck! And if you're a big fan of yellow olives, then I too am a big fan of yellow olives. Because yellow olives.